seconds, you have to make sure that you show all your qualities, make sure you have everything organized, and that you're prepared to show that you're a good employee and a good fit for this employer. I've had many different interview experiences. I've done volunteer interviews, I've done work interviews, and hopefully soon to come internship interviews. And something that I saw that made it seem very successful was the ability to have a good resume that was clean and clear, to have the presence on social media that was appropriate, and to be able to have the emotional and physical appearance that was ready and well prepared. So, we're all salesmen. We just need to sell ourselves, whether it's through our resume, through our social media, or through our appearance. The average time spent by recruiters is looking at a resume is 5 to 7 seconds in business to community. You have 5 to 7 seconds to be able to explain all the qualities that you have and to be able to have a clear and active voice to make sure that the grammar and everything looks correct. For me personally, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish and English, and in both languages, grammar is still a hard thing for me. So something that I always have my husband look over my resume, have my parents, my friends, to make sure that everything sounds clean and clear and that they can understand all the qualities that I'm trying to explain to them. CEO Jürgen Sumdenberg of a huge corporation once said that the main problem with his interviewees was that they didn't know anything about the company. So it's important to know the information about the company that you're presenting about. You want to make sure that you have that knowledge so that if they ask you a basic question that you understand the motto and that you can be able to repeat it to them to seem that you're well informed and that you really want the job. 93% of recruiters are likely to look at the candidates' social media profiles at business to community. I've personally had bosses come up to me to say that they've looked at my social media to make sure that everything looked okay and that I was going to be a good fit and representative for their company. So let's make sure that when you're using the internet, you got to understand that even though you've deleted it, it can still be posted online. So be consciously aware of what you're posting to make sure that it's not something that you've posted that's going to make you lose an opportunity for a job position, internship, a volunteer experience. One time I was working at Paradise Bakery and there was a young lady there and she called out one day sick. And we all thought, okay, she's sick, normal, got someone to cover for her. But later on, she was posting photos that she was partying on her Facebook. Later on, our boss decided that she would check her Facebook in case something seems odd, and he saw these images. A couple other things led up to this, but she was eventually fired. And the major two parts was that she posted on her social media of what she was doing, and she lied. I work in the Academic Discovery Center on campus. It's in the Chapman Building, room 103. I'm a receptionist there, and something that's a part of my job title is working with the LinkedIn and the social media pages. Something that I've really learned from the LinkedIn page is how students can gain mentors, they've gotten internships, they've gotten jobs, and it's all by the professionalism of their LinkedIn page. Even the connections that they might have with one person, they have with another person. And that other person might see their qualifications that they've posted that are clean and clear and make sense, and they've contacted friends and said, hey, I heard that you're looking for somebody, this student looks really appropriate, sounds like they have the qualifications. And I've seen students receive major corporation jobs from that. When meeting new people, 55% of the impact comes from the way the person dresses, acts, and walks through the door, said Jürgen Sumdenberg. So let's make sure that when you're going for an interview, we dress to impress. You want to dress appropriately and make sure that your appearance, emotional and physical, is showing that you're prepared and ready for the job. You want to make sure that you're controlling your nervousness. And something for me personally is sometimes I'll park in the back of the parking lot and I'll kind of hustle to the front to let that extra energy out so that I'm prepared and that I'm calm. Another thing that I do sometimes is when I'm sitting at my desk, I'll tap my finger on the side of my leg just so I can kind of slow down my heartbeat and just kind of calm me down a little bit before I present. Something important that I've learned is eye contact. A failure of eye contact is a major problem with most people. To make eye contact shows that you can be successful, that you're able to maintain a conversation, and to make sure that you look like you're prepared. Something that we learned from my husband is that he was applying for a job as a CNA at IRMAC, which is a hospital in Idaho Falls. Something that we had to do for him is to make sure that we had all his references and all his nursing little certificates and all his paperwork was organized, dated, and we had copies so that when he came in for that interview, he was able to show everybody in the room his qualifications and that they knew exactly his previous experiences and the jobs that he had, so that they knew that he was, even though he wasn't a nursing student, that he could get that CNA position and that he'd be well prepared. Something else that we made sure is that his social media was appropriate. During the time of politics and everything going on, we made sure that his views and everything that was on there would be a good representative of the hospital that he was going to be working at. And something else we worked on was his appearance. Making sure that he looked dressed appropriately, not overdressed for the occasion, but appropriately enough that they looked like he was prepared, well-dressed, well-groomed young man. So what we did is we talked to my father-in-law, who's an accountant, who's also done the hiring process before, and we made sure that his outfit was appropriate, that it didn't seem too over the top, wasn't too underdressed, that he just looked appropriate for the position he was applying for. So, social media, your resume, social media, and your appearance are all contributing factors to how to do well in an interview. They're key parts on how to get a job. So you need to make sure that you're preparing constantly and that you're always that salesman, that you need to sell yourself through everything that you're posting online, through your resume, through your work, and just to make sure that those 5 seconds